all the outcomes of session? No. I mean, just today, I was before the Miami Herald editorial board, and they, of course, wanted to talk about Governor Scott's vetoes. And yes, I will be the first one to tell you I'm disappointed with some of his vetoes. There was some significant funding for colleges and universities for the capital. That's important. And just outside, I met a lady that works at Kaiser University. And so there are a number of things that I would have liked to have seen different, but that wasn't the case. And so now we are faced with going into the next fiscal year in pretty good shape. We have a good amount of reserves. We made sure that our bond rating is where it needs to be. And we made sure again that we didn't raise taxes, that we focused on the things that are important, and we were able to create a culture and an environment where we can once again become the #1 state in the nation in job growth and economic development. I think for far too long, under the previous administration, under Governor Triss, we let the focus shift away from where we needed to be as a state. We are absolutely well positioned, given our tax base, given our environment, given our tourism, our climate, to be able to be the #1 state in the nation for job growth and job retention. And I think that Governor Scott, and again, we can discuss some of his decisions of late, but I think Governor Scott has a renewed focus on economic development. And I'm proud to say that he really has put business to the test. He has been out there. He's been the #1 promoter of Florida in jobs, and he has kind of given Governor Perry from Texas a little challenge that he will be taking over their #1 spot in the nation. So again, we focus on job creation, job growth, business development, all the things that we need to focus on. Education, again, another important priority. You heard with the vetoes some of his desire to put that money back into education. I will tell you that his philosophy is not necessarily accurate. We can't necessarily go back and plug those veto dollars that he vetoed into education, because there are certain restrictions with how the general revenue versus the trust fund money is situated. But nonetheless, I think that next year we'll be looking at a better economic year. I've seen some of the numbers on the tax base, especially sales tax, is creeping up, and certainly that gives us a certain sense of security. But it also, I think, we're still too close to the recession to even think in terms of those times. I think we need to continue to be very fiscally responsible. I think we need to continue to focus on what were the conditions and what were the situations and circumstances that got us to where we are today, that got us to some of the problems. Certainly the housing market, and some of the other reliances on tax laws. We really need to focus on the private sector. And again, Governor Scott, I think, is focused on that, and I think he'll continue to be focused on that. We also revamped Medicaid. We're going to be going through a whole new Medicaid program. And you may ask, well, what do I care about Medicaid? I'm not on Medicaid. I don't know anyone that's on Medicaid. But at the end of the day, Medicaid impacts us all. It's $22 billion and growing. And it's not just growing. It's growing at an astronomical pace. And it's growing at a pace that will bankrupt the rest of our state's budget. Education suffers when Medicaid grows. Transportation suffers when Medicaid grows. Criminal justice suffers when Medicaid grows. So we really focused on containing that program and making sure that we were able to rein in the cost, rein in the fraud, and be able to provide people that 1 in 6 of their Floridians is on Medicaid, be able to provide them with access to an important access to services that they're going to need for their healthcare needs. So again, we did a number of things. We also didn't do a number of things, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Some people say, yeah, you file all these bills and you only pass a very small percentage. Well, sometimes that's not a bad thing. You pass laws and you pass laws and laws on top of laws, and what ends up happening is your statutes become a jumbled disarray and a big mess. And so this year there was also a focus on repealing some archaic and out-of-date laws. So we focused on that as well. Long story short, I'm personally pleased, and I'm talking from a legislative perspective, from the entire delegation. The Broward delegation worked really hard. We've got folks like George Moritas, who's also a freshman with me, that worked very hard. Representative Hudson, who has been a champion for Broward, and he was the chairman of the Health and Human Services Appropriations, and had a really difficult job. Those of you that were at REC earlier last month, I had the pleasure of introducing him, and he had to cut close to $1 billion out of his budget. So just imagine having to cut $1 billion out of a budget. I mean, that's no easy task. And he did it with grace, and he did it with integrity, and very fair, and he was focused on the bottom line. And so we were able to work together as a delegation, albeit a small delegation of Broward Republicans, but nonetheless we worked hard, and I think that you all should be very proud of your delegation. Long story short, I'm proud to be a member of this delegation. I'm proud to be a member of the legislature. It's a great honor. It's one that certainly has impacted my life in every aspect, and again, I'm just really happy to be here with you all, and I think at this point I'll stop talking and let you all maybe ask some questions or